Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is June 9th, 2019. Welcome to the Mo Banter Podcast. I am Mo. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 4, Mo Banter Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Anybody who watches on YouTube, SoundCloud, or listens on SoundCloud, watches on YouTube, thank you guys so much. Again, it's just hobby. I just wanted to do this because I want to do this. So let me start off today's podcast with my personal hype machine news from myself. My son been golfing for a little over 2 years competitively. I started teaching him the game of golf when he was 8, I want to say. Maybe 8, maybe a little. No, actually, he was probably younger, about 6 or 7. I bought him his first clubs. So after all this time, practice, effort, finishing third, being bumped out of third due to cart off, due to a person just coming in with a last minute better score by 1 stroke. Couple first place finishes, including a 3-day tournament second place finish earlier this week, Tuesday through Thursday, which I missed due to work. After finishing second a couple months ago in a playoff hole against a really good player, he was able to take him to a playoff. He finished second there as well. My son has finally got his first solo victory. Yeah. I'm super proud of him. I'm so hyped. It was a small field, 3 players total, so he was guaranteed to place, but it doesn't take away from what he needed to do, which is show up and handle his business. He had so many outs to not shoot well, to not take care of business. The 3-day tournament, Tuesday through Thursday, I took him out for a round of golf, no cart, all walking at a golf course in Pico Rivera, the Pico Rivera golf course. We walked all the holes. He played around the golf with me there. Yesterday, he had a 100-hole golf-a-thon that took him 6.5 hours to complete. He completed that. Top of band, top of all the family stuff that we have to do. He had a very long week, and he could have easily just said, you know what, I don't feel like playing today. I don't want to be there. I'm just going to show up. He showed up, and he took care of business. So he had so many outs to just place. I mean, he was guaranteed to place. If all he did was show up, he would have placed. And I'm happy he did not take the easy way out. He went out there and gave his truest, best effort for what his body could muster after a long week. And he won, and I'm super proud of him. So that's what I wanted to share. I'm super proud of him. I'm happy that he did this, and I'm gonna start crying. I'm super proud of him. All right, cool. So that's gonna be that. And now we're gonna transition to some other stuff. So, going from the happy, I did say when I started this podcast that I would not be too political, and I don't believe this topic in a grand scheme or a grand scope, and I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. In the grand scope of things, life, we'll say in the grand scope of life, is political at all. Yes, it has become political. It has become very, very politicized, but there's an underlying mechanic here where this is just basically being a good human being. And the topic that I'm going to talk about is abortions and the woman's right to get an abortion being challenged in the United States. I don't know where else this might be publicized or politicized. I don't know what other parts of the world really focus around a woman's lack, or there is an active duty to make sure that women cannot get an abortion due to religious rights, due to state rights, due to laws, due to whatever. I'm not sure. I'm speaking from what I see here in the United States, and me as a citizen of the United States, and seeing the constant disrespect amongst people on this topic. And before we get started, I want to say that me, myself, as a person, as a man, I am not with abortions. I don't understand abortions as a whole. I understand there are some times where health reasons will cause that decision to have to be made. I do understand it, but as a whole, as a accidental pregnancy, as a way to control, I guess, a child being born, I don't understand it. And me myself, again, as a male, as a person who cannot reproduce, who cannot carry a human life with inside me, I, as a personal belief, I am against abortions as a concept. But having said that, I 110% back the decision for a woman who can carry a life in her body to decide whether or not they want to go through that journey. And if they so choose to get an abortion, that they have every right, regardless of what my personal feelings are, to get that abortion. And that is the part that upsets me, is I understand where I stand on this. I understand where a lot of people in my family stand on this. None of it fucking matters. None of it. Absolutely none of it fucking matters. I am not going to tell a woman that she cannot decide what she can do with her body. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try to justify why I am trying to take away her right to do what she wants to do with her body, regardless of what it is. If a man wants to get his Van difference snipped to prevent having children, nobody says shit. Nobody says, hey, why are you doing that? That's unnatural. It's unnatural for you to cut your Van difference to prevent you from having a child. God gave you 2 testicles and a way for it to create sperm and have an ingredient to make a baby. But yeah, you're over here snipping it. That's unnatural. Nobody fucking questions that. Why? Because we're men? Because somehow that's justifiable? And whatever fucking way you can come up with? That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. So how is that we can tell women, or in some states, we are deciding to tell women that what they want to do with their body is not only evil, but illegal? What? What? What fucking sense does that make? It doesn't make any. And for anybody that going, well, yeah, well, imagine if your wife decided to have an abortion and all the excitement that you're missing out on and this, and yeah, I didn't know this 14 years ago, and it doesn't matter. Whatever transpires, whatever goes on, whatever has happened in my life has happened for a reason. The lack of getting an abortion is not really that reason. Life happens as life happens because that's the way life happens. Nobody knows what's going to happen in life. That's why we live it. That's why we don't read about it. This is why we don't act in life like it's fake, like it's phony. I mean, some of us do, but we do that shit for money. But just in general, what happens in your life happens in life because it happens in life. There's no guarantee that, say, I was with somebody, impregnated them, they didn't want to deal with it, they go get an abortion, that was going to be the kid that I'm over here being so proud about at the beginning of this podcast. There's no guarantee of that. There's no guarantee that kid is going to do anything because we don't fucking know. For people to go on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever other fucking social media there is out there, and to try to justify their anti-abortion beliefs by saying the baby you abort could cure cancer, could have cured cancer. All right, cool. The baby that doesn't get aborted, that gets abandoned in a high school bathroom, that gets abandoned at the fire station, that gets abandoned at a group home, that gets abandoned here, that gets abandoned here, could have potentially cured cancer. But your bleeding heart doesn't give a fuck about them. You're not housing them. You're not donating to make sure that these forgotten kids are taken care of. As a matter of fact, most of the people, and again, most, not all, of the people who are anti-abortion and say they're pro-life don't give a fuck about that life once the life is actually here. As a matter of fact, you try to do everything in your power to villainize, to demonize those kids. Why do you have so many kids if you can't afford them? Why should my tax dollars go to help you and your 8 kids? Why do I have to pay more taxes in order to make sure all these forgotten rejects get shelter, get food? It's not my fault that their parents left them. So you say you're pro-life. You have a bleeding heart for this embryo. But yet when this embryo becomes an actual baby, is born into this world, and if one of the negative things happen that I just mentioned, or something else that I cannot be aware of or don't really know or thinking about right now, you stop giving a fuck about that life. You don't want your taxes raised. You don't want to be bothered about being asked for donations. You don't want to house them. You don't want to do anything. So you're not pro-life. What you are is pro-shame. You are finding any possible way to shame somebody into believing the way you believe. You want to control these people, saying that it's by the word of God, but it's by my religion, by it's the No. None of that should matter. It's this fucking simple. Biologically, there are 2 hemispheres in this life. Those who can produce life, those who can carry life, those who can create life and host life, and those who can't. Better known as men and women. Why are we so enamored with trying to tell people how to live their lives? Due to our personal beliefs. My personal beliefs are this simple. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. And don't be an asshole. And we'll touch on those a little bit later. And normally I wouldn't even have touched this subject. But the one thing that bothered me was I was on a friend's Facebook post. And he's pro-choice. And as am I. Even though I've told you guys, me, myself, as a person, don't understand the concept of abortions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see why people would want to do this. But I am pro-choice. It's your body. You do what you want to do. You do what's good for you. Because as I've mentioned before, I am not the one that's going to have to pay for this life. Taxes are taxes. And to be honest, and we'll touch that little part of it. I'd rather my taxes go to shelter and feed the homeless, the forgotten, the discouraged, the pushed aside, the untouchables. I'd rather my tax dollars go to help them than to go make fucking missiles and guns and planes and boats so that we can possibly avoid being bombed by some other fucking made up evil in this world, or that we can go bomb a made up evil in this world. That part doesn't make any fucking sense to me. How people are willing to be taxed billions and billions of fucking dollars to make killing machines, but yet you don't want to be taxed when it comes to protect life. And don't say, oh, well, we are with No, you're not doing that. That's not what abortion is. Abortion is not protecting. Anti-abortion is not protecting life. This is you trying to be pro control of a situation and having people believe the same way you believe. It's not the same fucking thing. It's not. Don't confuse the two concepts as one because they're different. Don't say you're pro-life, but only when that life doesn't affect you in any way. Don't say you're pro-life when you care about a fetus, when you care about an embryo, when it's in the mom's stomach, but yeah, when the embryo and the fetus comes out and becomes an actual breathing human being baby, and you get upset because all of a sudden this mother needs help, either welfare, food stamps, Medicaid, whatever the case may be, don't be upset at that point that your tax dollars might go and help this child. Where the fuck is that pro-life shit now? Where is that pro-life stuff now? Oh, well, I didn't tell the baby. I didn't tell this person to have this baby. Motherfucker, I think you are. Because you didn't want this person, or your belief doesn't allow this person to have an abortion. Not that it was an option for said person, but we don't know. We don't know. The shame that people put on people for being pro-choice is fucking ridiculous. Now, where the fuck was I? Because now I just fucking made myself angry over this. Oh, I was on the homie's Facebook page, on my friend's Facebook page, right? He's pro-choice. I'm pro-choice. You know, he has a wife. She's pro-choice. And he knows somebody. I don't know this person, but I see him just being really condescending, just talking in this way that's uppity and just kind of being disrespectful in the way he's approaching the subject. And just being an asshole. And I'm reading through it. I don't like to get involved, especially people in a conversation where I don't know the other party, because I don't know the relationship that my friend and this person have. I don't know if they're friends. That's why I refuse to call them a friend, because I don't really know. They could be coworkers, whatever the case may be. I don't fucking know. So, you know, I'm just reading through, and they have a back and forth. My friend's wife gets involved. And she's giving the woman's perspective of like how she feels about it and why she feels this way. And this guy just comes out, well, I believe in this. And every female in my family, my daughters, my wife, blah, 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 back me up. That a woman should be anti-abortion and pro-life. And it got me to thinking, why do people believe this? Why do people believe that having your feelings validated, having your personal beliefs validated, somehow validates it to everybody else? It doesn't fucking work that way. That's cool that you married a woman and had daughters and are in a family where they don't believe in abortion. That's cool. I'm hoping that feeling also translates it into, if your cousin, if your daughters, if you're anybody, any female in your family has a kid, that you will be there to support that kid any way that you can. Emotionally, financially, spiritually, however. If you can do that, that's cool. It works for you. That's fine. That doesn't validate your beliefs to everybody else. We can take you and pluck you and put you in a group with myself, with that friend you argue with his wife. And we can probably come up with another 50, 60, 70 people just on our Facebook contacts alone. And you could be in a room where you're the only one that believes that way. Does that somehow make our point of view valid and yours totally invalid? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. We're going to be different. We're going to be different. That's just the way this works. We all believe differently. We don't believe in the same gods. We don't believe in the same deities. We don't even believe in the way we should spend money the same. So how is it that because you're surrounded by a group of women in your family, that somehow validates your feelings to the rest of us? First of all, get the fuck over yourself. That's one. Get the fuck over yourself. Two, why are you making such a capital case about people's beliefs on this subject matter. It's very easy for you to just shut the fuck up, believe you the way you want to believe, and let women have the ability to make this choice for themselves. If you want to be there to offer support, awesome. If you don't, awesome. But if you don't, shut the fuck up about it. You don't know what a woman goes through mentally at the point where she's making this decision. You don't know, and to just villainize a woman who wants to do this makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever. Why do you have the urge that you want to make it into law where no woman has a choice to do this? Are you going to be paying for all of the unwanted kids in this life? Do you mind having your taxes raised to help support all the kids that will become into our lives as taxpayers? If you're not, shut the fuck up. I'm so tired of people believing just because they can find people to validate their personal opinions that their actual opinions are fucking valid. It doesn't fucking work that way. It doesn't. Stay the fuck out of my life and I'll stay the fuck out of yours. It's that simple. It really is that simple. Anyways, I don't know. So I'm gonna stop touching on that subject because again, I'm not fully educated, but that was just something that kind of just it rubbed me the wrong way. It really did. Because I hate when people use this mentality of I can find people that validate my personal opinions, so therefore you're wrong because you think differently than I do, and I can prove it because I got people on my back. That doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way anywhere. I have friends who know other people who they consider friends. Sometimes we can all get along together and we can be cool. Sometimes those other friends are assholes. And you don't understand how your friend can be friends with them and then friends with you at the same time. But it happens. Sometimes you're the asshole. That's me. I'm the asshole. Most times. I have friends who understand me, who love me for me being me. But when we go out in mixed groups and it's not my friends that come along, but their friends that come along, some of them are going to like me. Some of them are going to fucking hate me. They find me opinionated. They find me hard to actually like. They find me difficult. Whatever. They find me too fucking far out there. That's fine. I don't give a fuck. Does that mean because my friend has friends who don't like me that somehow their opinions are validated or invalid because the one mutual person that we know somehow likes me, or vice versa? Somehow the people that I don't like, my friend likes them. Does that invalidate my personal opinion? No, it's just the way it is. That's fucking life. Either accept it and understand that this may happen and go forward with life, or you know what? Next time you get invited to mixed company, just stay your ass at home and shut the fuck up. It's that fucking simple. Just shut the fuck up. If you don't believe in abortions, cool. Like I said, I personally don't believe in that procedure myself. But I don't have to make the decision of having to terminate a beginning of a life. I don't know what a woman would go through. I don't. But I am pro-choice. I think Family Guy had it the best. While I disagree with your opinions, I will wholeheartedly fight to the death your right to have that opinion. I don't know if that's the actual quote, but it was from an episode. And it's, it basically is, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with what you're saying, but I would defend your right to say it. That's my take on abortions. I don't understand abortions, but I will 110% back you and your right for a woman to have that abortion. It's that fucking simple. If I thought differently, then fuck it. I think differently. I'm gonna shut the fuck up. That's not my life. That's not what I have to deal with. The potential of this baby maybe being a fucking cancer cure or a Nobel Prize winner, that's cool. But that little motherfucker could also be the one that stabs me in the back of the fucking throat. He's just trying to rob $5 for a hit of fucking smack. There's that fucking word again. I don't know why smack always comes into my mind when I talk about shit. So we don't know. We don't know. Don't try to use the 100% correct decisions that this baby's gonna. We don't fucking know. Baby can be a fucking genius or a fucking dumbass. Can be a Nobel Prize winner or a fucking heroin addict in the streets. We don't fucking know. Stop with this fantasy fucking bullshit to try to justify your villainization of women who don't believe the way that you believe. It's their choice, not yours. You don't have to live with this choice. They do. Let them live with their own choices and see how little it affects your life. But yeah, you're out here fucking going on Twitter, on Facebook, and trying. Shut the fuck up. All of you who don't believe in a woman's right to choose what is right for their body, for their life, shut the fuck up, because it doesn't affect you one fucking bit. It's that fucking simple. Okay, now I'm done. Now I'm done with that subject. Now I'm done. If you want to hit me up about this subject or any other subject, you guys can email me at mobanterpodcast. That's MOEBANTERPODCAST at gmail.com. Mo Banter Podcast. All right, let's move on. And this subject is probably not even any better, but it got me to thinking. And it's gonna bleed into another subject, I believe, or at least a story, because I like telling stories. So, and part of this came also from that same thread on the last subject. Came in the same thread about how certain things are illegal, and one of the words, or one of the concepts that this person used to justify their beliefs is bullying. That bullying is now illegal. And I am the 100% complete opposite on this. Being the father of a son, 14 years old, and me, myself, and I don't know if this information is important, but let's see where your mind kind of drifts first on why my take is the way that it is. So currently I'm 6'2.5", about 222 pounds, fucking fatty. At my biggest, I've been 300 plus. I took a job where I was just not eating correctly, working long hours, stress, bullshit. I gained 80 something pounds, 80 plus pounds. And I was over 300 pounds. My estimate of how heavy I've been in my life, probably 320, 330, easy at my fucking heaviest. Right? Third grade, I was about 5'5", about 145 pounds. I was either the biggest kid in my class or the second biggest kid in my class pretty much my whole time as a kid, until I reached high school. I was either usually the tallest one or one of the biggest ones. And where the fuck was I going with this? So I was always a big kid. If I wasn't the biggest kid in my class, or I was one of the biggest kids, I was still one of the biggest kids in the school. Top 5 easily. Okay. We'll just leave that information there and let it soak in, and then I'm going to say what I need to say, and then you guys can decide why I feel this way, and then I'll let you know that it's complete opposite. I don't believe bullying should be outlawed. I don't believe it should be made illegal. As a matter of fact, I believe bullying is an essential part of life. Whether you're the bullier, the one being bullied, or a bystander. I believe the practice of bullying is very primitive in nature. But it happens. You look at any group of animal, mainly mammals, there's always the one female, or male in a group of animals, herds, however, murders, whatever the case may be, that are either the alphas, the matriarchs, whatever the head position is that you want to call it out of nature. There's always this, right? And the way they get that position in their pods, in their groups, in their herds, in their whatevers, is that they go out and display force that lets their group know, hey, I am the alpha, I am the matriarch, I will defend you to the end, and you take on all challengers. And if any challenger or even just a straggler comes into your property that may potentially affect your herd, you go and you bully the shit out of them. You fucking thump your chest, thump your chest, and you start fucking making noises and shit, and you hope that this motherfucker backs off. If not, you handle business by fucking bullying him the fuck out of your fucking place. Primitive. So I believe that this is important in life. That kids who get bullied, kids who don't get bullied, and kids who just kind of watch the bullying is where this is an important developmental step in your child's ability to become a better person, or just overall just being a shitty person. It's that fucking simple, but it's not because of the kids. It's because of the parents and the people around the kids. So just so we're clear, I don't believe that bullying should be outlawed or made illegal in any fucking way whatsoever. What we need to do is be more involved as parents, as teachers, as administrators, as a village. And when we see it, go and try to help the kids understand why it shouldn't be the way that it is. Now, having said that, and again, I'll go back to my stat sheet. I currently sit 6'2", 220. I've been 300 plus. As a kid, I was 5'5", 140. Again, top 5, biggest in the school. Usually the top, biggest kid in my class. Usually, up until about high school. And even in high school, I was still considered kind of big, but I went to high school with a lot of Samoans. Them dudes get fucking huge. So, I was big enough where people confused me for being a Samoan or a Pacific Islander, Tongan, however, So I was still a big kid in high school. I was bullied. I was bullied all the fucking time in elementary. I was bullied all the time before elementary. I was bullied not so much in middle school, but at the same time I wasn't respected. You know what I'm saying? I was the dude that everybody fucking cracked jokes about. I'm the one, either big head or I'm fat or whatever the case may be. I'm the one that got bullied. And then when I thought it would be cool, seeing as big as I was, to go try to bully somebody else, I got put into check. You know what I'm saying? Because there's always somebody bigger. There's always somebody who's not going to stand for this shit. Always. Even if somebody's smaller, like, you don't know. As a kid, you think, I'm big, I can take this kid. You don't know. Some dude can just have a good ass fucking hook, crack your ass in the jaw, and then you fucking fall to the ground. And then what? Well, how good was your size then? It doesn't fucking matter. But anyways. So around like 7th or 8th grade, I thought it'd be cool to punk some dude. Punked one dude for a little bit. I'm just fucking being honest. Didn't work out. Almost got my ass beat for it. I was like, damn, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't. And all the things that my dad taught me. So let's go why this happened and why I'm reflecting on this right now. And it really just got triggered because of this one saying in this Facebook thread. So when my mom had me, she stayed home for 3 to 4 years, right about the time until I went to school. She took me to school for first day of kindergarten. But up until that point, I didn't grow up in a super rough neighborhood. But I grew up in a neighborhood with some baby kids. You know what I mean? Like, these were who we consider friends. People who talk back to their mom, people who just didn't have any respect for anybody. And just, it was funny to them to try to exclude people from that little group. We're like, you can't play with us. And I was usually that kid who got bullied. And for like the first 3 years or so around the house, I would come home cry, oh, Mom, somebody hit me or somebody punched me or whatever the case. There goes my mom, who hit my kid and blah, 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 blah. So where this left me at that position at that point in my life, and unfortunately I have a lot of fucking memories about being bullied, was I didn't know how to defend myself. I didn't know how to protect myself because I didn't have to build thick skin. I didn't have to get stronger. I didn't have to know how to throw a punch because my mom handled all of my business. She handled it. If somebody was treating me mean, then she would handle it. It wasn't until I was like 7 or 8, still living with the same kids, and then like some new kid, new kid into the neighborhood walked in. Big husky ass kid. Like I thought I was fucking big. This dude was big. Like this dude was like 180, like a little bit shorter, probably like maybe 4'10", 4'6". I mean, we were big kids. I don't even know how the fuck we got so big at that age, but we were pretty fucking big kids. But this dude was huge. He was shorter than I was, but he was bigger. Like he was stocky and wide, and he came in and he wanted to hang out with the neighborhood kids. So all the kids that were bullying me now had a new target, had this kid, and it kind of left me alone. So I really didn't say much. I kind of just laughed and pointed. I remember this. I don't know why I remember so much of my fucking childhood when it comes to this type of stuff, but I do. I have this stupid, vivid memory of a lot of these little instances. And so I became the bully, and I switched to bystander, and I just stood there. Like I would just laugh, I would chuckle, I would point, I wouldn't defend, dude, right? As the people who were bullying me, who I called friends, quote unquote friends, all of a sudden I found a new target, and I was content with not being bullied anymore, right? So one night, I forget where me and my dad were going. I think we were going to get dinner. We were going to the 30s for ice cream or something. I don't know. Me and my dad were always going out somewhere. Park, probably. I think it was probably the park. Because it was, whatever. And I see this kid sitting on in our stoop. In our stoop, in our apartment stoop. Which to me was kind of rare because he lived across the street. So I don't know what he was doing on the stoop. I don't know if he was just waiting and hoping that somebody would come out and play with him, because I guess being bullied, just like me, being bullied but having somebody to hang out with was better than just being home by yourself. So I see him and I go, oh, okay, cool. Like the big dog's ain't here and my dad's right here. And seeing as my mom took care of all my business, I somehow assumed that my dad would fucking protect me against some shit like this. If anything were to go awry, you know what I mean? So I start messing with this dude, and my dad sees me. He doesn't stop me, but he does tell me, Moito, leave him alone, because he could fuck you up. I'm like, Dad, everybody punks him. I'm over here fucking, like, I literally punched dude in his back a few times, and I didn't know how to fucking throw a punch. I'm pretty sure they felt like mosquito bites to him. But I'm over here thinking I can take him because he's big and fat, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call him big and fat, but, he was a big and fat kid. Sorry. That I can just take this cat. I'm over here punching. My dad's like, Mojito, leave him alone. Let's go. I'm over here, nah, that is, it's fine. I'm over here, like, punching dude, and it came to the point where he just had enough. It wasn't even that long. He just had enough. So he fucking stood up. And he stands up and he starts fucking creeping up on me. My dad backs up and I go, come on, Dad. Like, like, get him. Like, protect him. Like, just hold him. Like, I don't know what the fuck I was expecting my dad to do. All I know is that I thought it was cool to try to bully this fucking kid. And I thought my dad would fucking help me in some way, shape, or form. I don't know why I thought that was dumb kid shit. But that was where my frame of thinking went. So my dad goes, I told you. So now I'm 1v1 with this cat. He's got me. He's shorter than I am, and I got a longer reach, but he's got me. You know what I'm saying? So I go, fuck it. Like, I think I can take him. I throw a punch. And it must have been like one of the weakest fucking punches I've ever thrown, because he honestly had no fucking reaction to it. He shrugged this shit off. This dude grabbed me, right? Grabbed me by my motherfucking hair, pulled my shit down, put me in a headlock, and I go to try to kick him in his shins because it's like all I have access to in this angle. I didn't know this dude had club feet or something was up with his legs, because he had like shin braces up to his fucking knee that were made of some thick ass fucking plastic. I go to kick his fucking shins and I hurt my foot on these fucking knee braces. They felt like kicking soccer shin guards, but somehow harder. So now I'm fucked. This dude has me in a fucking headlock. He's punching my ass. I just hurt my motherfucking feet trying to kick him. And what something that felt like fucking forever probably lasted all of 10 seconds. So I'm over here getting my ass beat in front of my dad. My dad finally goes, okay, enough. He gets me from this guy's grip, pushes, not pushes him, but kind of like he separates us. He doesn't push this kid. He kind of like gets him. He goes, okay, that's enough. He's like trying to coach him. I guess we'll say push, shove, whatever. He's trying to coach him away from me. Like, all right, that's enough. He had enough. And the kid goes, why is he always fucking with me, man? I don't want to fuck with nobody. I want to mess with nobody. And he was super upset. He goes, I know. I'm sorry. And as they're talking about this, I told Dad, how come you didn't fucking back me up? He goes, shut up. Say sorry. And I'm over here trying to like tell him, why didn't you shut up? Say sorry. All right, man, I'm sorry. I can't remember dude's name, to be honest. I'm like, hey, man, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, whatever, man. Fuck you. I'm like, all right, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, this dude just fucking whooped my ass. We're walking away. And I go, Dad, man, how come you didn't protect me? How come you didn't hold me? I'm your son. He goes, I told you not to mess with him. I told you not to mess with him. It's what you want. It's what you get. Damn, man, that saying goes back so fucking far. I'm like, yeah, but I did it because you were there. What am I supposed to do? He's a little kid. I can't beat his ass. I can't beat him out for you. You want to start shit? Okay, there you go. Shit started. It's what you want. It's what you get. And that's where we left it. I don't know why shit happened the way that happened, but that's where we left it. My dad let my ass get beat because I was trying to bully somebody. Okay. I honestly didn't even understand a lot of that fucking content until I myself had a kid. But looking back at that particular moment, knowing, okay, this means that regardless of what happens in my life, I have to protect myself. I have to do what I have to do for myself. I have to handle my business. I can't rely on anybody, including my dad, to handle shit for me, especially shit that I started. Not to say that my dad wouldn't be there for me, because I know that he would. He has been there for me. Not that I couldn't rely on my mom or anybody else, but at the end of the day, you have to take care of your own business. If you're going to go and pop off and talk shit and say shit, be ready for shit to come towards you, and don't expect anybody to catch it for you. You have to handle your shit. You started it. You fucking finish it. Reflecting back on that, that's what that taught me. So dude left maybe 3 or 4 months later. So I went back to hanging out with, my old posse, my old crew. And now, since the target was gone, I now again was defaulted back to being the main target. Let me drink something really quick. Sorry. If you're watching on the YouTube, I could have brought it on camera, but it's in a cup from a place that doesn't sponsor me. So no free commercial advertisement on this. I gotta pay for this. God damn it. So now I go back to being the target of this bullying, right? And one of the main I guess bulliers, I don't even know, aggressors, I don't even know what word to use here, was actually my godmother's son. He was like my best friend growing up. You know, we grew up since we were kids. I mean, I no longer talk to this guy because he lives in the past, and you know what? I'm not one to live in the fucking past. You know what I'm saying? We gotta look upwards and forwards. If you still want to talk about shit we did when we were growing up, I'm like, you know what? I can't fuck with you, man. We talked about that. I can't fuck with you. I can't fuck with you no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that shit in my fucking life. But anyways, he was one of the main ones. And I remember this moment very, very vividly, because this was a very defining moment for myself. So I'm at his house, and we're playing a video game. I can't remember what video game we're playing, but we're playing on, you know what, I do remember. It was Bubble Bubble for the NES. We were trying to beat it because his brothers and sisters and everybody who was older than us actually had beat this game a few times, and we were trying to beat it together. So we were playing Bubble Bubble. Alright, so we're trying to play Bubble Bubble, and his older sister comes in with an older neighbor kid, and we were hanging out. And I don't even know how it starts, but it goes, "Hey, who would win in a fight between Mojito and Manuel?" And like, this dude had whooped my ass before. Like, this dude had punched me. He had pulled my hair. He had scratched my face. Like, this dude had a habit of fucking me up. You know what I mean? So, like, knowing the answer, I'm trying not to fucking answer. But, you know, they're over here aggravating. They want to see some kids fucking fight. Like I said, man, I grew up in a fucking baby-ass fucking neighborhood. And, you know, and I'm not trying to fucking fight this cat because literally there is no fight there. I'm going to get my ass beat, so I'm trying to keep my fucking mouth shut. And it goes on a few minutes. I don't even know how long, really. I'm trying to play. And I go, I don't want to fight. They don't fucking listen. They actually take both of us out to the hallway of the apartment and force us to fight. I still have my glasses on, my sunglasses, and I'm like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get my fucking ass beat. My friend at the time didn't want to fight either. But they're egging us to fight like we're fucking dogs here. You know what I'm saying? Like we're like animals that they bought to fucking watch us fight. And as we're standing off and trying not to fight, the sister grabs the younger brother, grabs him and pushes him towards me. And then as the little brother's being pushed towards me, the little brother pushes me. Right? So he's being pushed, and then all of a sudden he's pushing me. And since it's a little brother, I pushed his ass back. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you know, why the fuck are you pushing me? Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, you gonna let Mojito push your little brother like that? That's your little brother. Look, he pushed him. So they're trying to create conflict. It was enough. It was a trigger. He was like, hell no, that's my little brother. Why you push my little brother? I'm like, and now at this point I start whimpering. Like, I don't want to fight, man. I want to fight. I don't want to fight. Now you push my little brother. Now we got to fight. So this motherfucker pushes me and then punches me. Right? My glasses kind of tilt. I take off my fucking glasses, put on my shirt, and I get into this boxing stance. Because I used to see my dad shadow box, because my dad used to be an amateur boxer back in Guatemala, and I see my dad shadow box. So I don't know, like, just watching him, like, built this instinct, but I get into, like, a boxing position. I'm like, all right, then, you know, like, I get down, I start fucking bouncing right in front of him. Let's go. Now, all of a sudden, you hear them go, oh, shit, we about to see a fight. We about to see a fight. This dude comes at me, and I just throw a right straight. Just boom, bop him right in his fucking nose. Just crack. Boom. Dude fucking grabs his face, starts fucking crying. The little brother all of a sudden starts getting like these big ass balls, and he tries to push me like, oh, it's my big brother. I grab him and push him up against the wall. I don't really do anything because I feel bad for punching my friend in the face. And then the big sister comes and grabs him, and the little sister, they take him inside to the apartment. I don't follow them. They only live like the next apartment down. I don't follow them, and I go back to my place. I'm not even sure what the fuck happened. I walk in, get on my knees, trying to recover, trying to think about what the fuck just happened. And I start crying. Like I'm weeping, like I just got my fucking ass handed to me. I start crying. My dad, I think at the time, was either in the bathroom, he was throwing out the trash or something, but he missed me coming in and he missed me start crying. So he walks in and he's seeing his kid on the floor. He's like, Mojito, what happened? And I go, Manuel. And he goes, what? He beat you up again? Again, because this motherfucker knew like we had a history. You know what I mean? I was like, no, I punched him. I punched him in the face. I think he's bleeding. He goes, wait. You punched him? He's crying and bleeding? What's wrong with you? I'm like, nothing, but I punched my friend. And he goes, so you won? I was like, yeah, I beat him. And he starts fucking laughing. He goes, wait, why are you crying? He started shit with you. And you beat him and you're crying? For whatever reason, this was funny to my dad. And looking back, it's kind of funny to me. So I'm there sitting, my dad comes over, and he comes and he consoles me. Like I said, my dad was there for me. He goes, look, remember the last time I let the little gordito, and gordito means little fat kid or chubby kid, husky kid, however you want to interpret that word. He goes, remember the little gordito when he fucked you up and I let him because you started shit? I was like, yeah. He goes, okay. I didn't defend you because you went and started shit. This time, Manuel, and he always does, started shit with you, and you took care of your business. You punched him. Stop crying. Go wash your face. Let's go get a slurper. That's what my dad calls Slurpees. Let's go get a slurper. I know it sounds fucking dirty, but that's what he calls Slurpees. Let's go get a slurper. Okay, stop crying. Okay. So I go wash my face, wash my hands. I'm trying to kind of still come to terms with what the fuck happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't the aggressive type. My godmother, because that was his son, comes over, knocks on the door, and she comes, Don Moisés, mira que tu niño le pegó a mi mijo. And basically she was saying, like, Moises, look at what your son did to my kid. Your kid hit my kid. And then my dad goes, oh, no. Espérate, señora, espérate. Wait, señora. And they talked in Spanish, but I'm just going to translate it because I don't want to like say it in Spanish and then translate it in English. He goes, your kid is always hitting my kid. My kid, and you know this because you're his godmother and a lot of this has happened and you don't say nothing. We don't say nothing. The kids are growing up. Your kid has bloodied my kid's nose, has scratched his face, has given him a black eye. My son has come crying a lot after hanging out with your kids. And you not ever once, as his godmother, come and check on him, try to see how he is. And that's fine. I don't care. He's my kid. I will take care of him. I understand that you're his madrina, you're his godmother. But that's your kid. Don't come over here and all of a sudden give a fuck because my kid finally got his in. No, but, Manuel said that Mojito punched him and it was for nothing. And, like, that fool was still crying like a little bitch. He's still crying. That, yeah, Mojito punched me. And My dad goes, okay. He goes, hold up. What did you do to Mojito? Nothing. What did you do to Mojito? I punched him. My godmother looked at him and said, wait. You hit him first. He hit you back. You're crying, and I'm over here trying to protect you because you started some shit? Okay. She calls for me. I go, hi, Madrina, how are you? She goes, I'm sorry, Mojito. She tells me in Spanish, but I'm going to say it in English. She goes, I'm sorry. I will make sure that I do protect you. Okay? Sometimes I don't see it. I know what happens, but I don't know everything that happens. If this happens again, tell me first, please, or just tell me, please. And I go, okay. She makes this dude apologize to me. Manuel, tell him that you're sorry. I'm sorry. Like, whatever, man. It's cool. And then my dad just asked, are we done here? She said, yeah. Are you cool, Mo? Cool. Before we even close the door, she starts scolding this motherfucker. And she starts whooping his ass. Like, literally starts whooping his ass. Just whack. And you can hear it in the hallway. She goes in, slams the door to their apartment. You can still hear this motherfucker crying. You can even hear the slaps. Like, this dude was getting his ass tore up. So then he really got fucked up twice. Got fucked up by me and fucked up by his mama. And there was other instances that were like that, and other instances where, like, I try to be the bully again, and I don't know why. I might just been like hormones and shit, thinking that, oh no, now I'm the big dog, now I know how to fight and blah blah blah. But like, I wasn't an aggressive kid. I didn't like getting into fights. I probably had like maybe 3 elementary fights, and I think a lot of them were with friends that I grew up with, just because I think we were trying to figure out where we stood on the totem pole. I was never part of like any type of popular group. I was always the popular group, like, target, right? And what I was fighting at that point, reflecting back on it and looking back on it, I think what we were fighting for was to not be the person that gets bullied anymore. And somehow that created hostility amongst the lower class, which was me and a couple, like, the buddies that I hung out with, because we were just like weak people. We were trying to prove that we weren't the weakest, one to each other and one to the people who are going to target us for bullying. And that was pretty much all of elementary for me. Not really so much in middle school, except for those few times where I thought I was better. But I didn't really get bullied as far as, like, people were willing to fuck me up when they thought I was bullying somebody. And then in high school, I didn't go to high school enough to even really be in that, because by that time I already had grown of the cliques and all the bullshit and the, you can't stay with us mentality. I had my cousin, I had fam, like, I would just ditch school and just kick time with them. I would just ditch school and watch ZD TV and watch, when it transformed to Tech TV, just watch something that I can improve myself, stay home and play video games. Like, that was me in high school. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I grew up being the one that's bullied. And, we fast forward some years, and I have a kid of my own. My kid's a big kid too. But my kid is not a fighter. He's not. He's, like, not a fighter at all. Even to this day, like, his punch is, like, okay. Like, there's some force behind it. But the way in which he punches, if he tried, someone's gonna fucking catch him with the fucking uppercut or counter hook or counter jab, and that's gonna be the end of that shit. And I remember the first time my kid thought he wanted to fight, he was maybe like 6 or 7, around that age. And he started maybe a little bit older. I can't really remember, but he might have been a little bit older than that as well. He might have been actually like 8 or 9, maybe close to 10. We put him in Taekwondo. just so he can build up some stamina, build some flexibility, get some strength. Not really to like showcase him as a fighter, because I already knew my kid. I knew the way that he was. He wasn't a fighter, but he needed some exercise. He liked it. He was in there for like about a month or two. And the one thing that he told me right away, after like a month or two, like, "Hey, Dad, when I get my yellow belt, I'm gonna challenge Izzy. I'm gonna beat her up." And I go, "What? The fuck you mean you're gonna challenge Izzy?" "Well, yeah, she's been taking. I think she was taking either kung fu, or maybe she might be taking taekwondo as well. She was taking some sort of martial arts. It wasn't a mixed martial arts. It was just a straight up martial arts. I think at that point she had been in about 6 months, and she had some tournament showings because they actually tried to do the whole tournament thing with her, and she was kind of into it. She liked the demonstration. She liked the building of the muscles. She wasn't really much into the contact portion of it, not so much getting hit, because it doesn't seem like she really had a problem with that, but she didn't like hitting other people. She didn't like hitting other kids. There was one time where she caught a dude right in the fucking sternum, dropped his ass. Kid started crying. She started crying because she heard another human being. She heard her friend. So that was enough for her not to want to do this. But prior to that, they were all into it. And he tells me this: "I'm going to challenge Izzy." I'm like, Izzy's been doing this for like maybe 8 months now. She already has her yellow belt. She's getting her orange belt like this weekend. Like, if you think you're going to challenge her once you get your yellow belt and she's already had all this practice and all this stuff, I'm like, dude, you're going to get fucked up. She's going to fucking fuck you up. "Oh, but she's a girl." I never thought I would be the type of that guy who would correct that saying. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to figure out this parenting thing as I'm going along. As I'm doing it, I'm trying to come up with these things to make my kid a better human being that I was growing up. You know what I mean? So I go, "Dude, she's gonna fuck you up." And he's like, "Oh yeah, she's a girl." I'm like, hold up. I'm like, first of all, get that fucking mentality out of your head. I don't care that she's a girl. I'm like, I seen her kick. I seen her form. I seen videos. You need to forget this whole fucking nonsense that somehow you're going to fucking kick her ass just because you're a boy. I'm like, she will literally fuck you up. Either with a kick to the face, a punch to the stomach. If she wants to go easy on you, she'll fucking sweep the leg. You'll trip. Try to get back up. She'll trip you again, and then you'll have no fucking chance. She will fuck you up. So first of all, don't even think that way. What if I practice more? You think I can beat her? I'm like, wait. What is your big fascination wanting to beat her? "Oh, well, I want to prove that I'm better than her, but..." I'm like, look, man, first of all, get out that mentality altogether, because that's not why I put you in this shit. That's not why your mother takes you to this. This wasn't our plan for you. It wasn't for you to go beat up your cousins. It wasn't for you to go beat up anybody. We just wanted you to get some fucking exercise and learn some flexibility and maybe learn some fun shit along the way. Don't use these things. Don't take these lessons as a way to try to prove that you're better than somebody. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you something that Grandpa told me. Is like, there's always going to be somebody better than you. Somebody bigger, somebody faster, somebody stronger, somebody smarter. It doesn't matter how good you become in life. There's always going to be somebody who's better than you. And not only that, there's going to be people under you who are not yet better than you, who are going to try to get better than you. But if your sole goal is to prove how much better you are than Izzy, I'm like, then we can stop this right here. We can stop taking you to lessons, because I'm not raising no fucking punk. I'm not raising some fucking asshole who thinks just because he knows some fucking karate or some shit that he can go out there and just kick anybody's ass, starting with this girl cousin. I mean, it could have been a boy cousin, but this was the situation. It was his girl cousin. I'm like, nah, I'm not raising a fucking bully. I'm not raising you to be a piece of shit. And at that point, my kid had several bullies throughout life. One kid was a stocky kid, which kind of brought back some memories when it was happening down. And this kid would start verbally abusing my kid. "Oh, you're stupid. You're this. Blah 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 blah." It became physical a few times, but nothing too big. It's kind of like a little hair pull, like when you grab like the little knots. Because my kid had very long hair growing up. We didn't cut his hair for like the first 8 years of his life. So by the time he went to school, he had a nice chunk of hair. Like it was long and it was nice. What I'm saying? My like we would just brush it out and take the knots out. It was nice. Yeah, say what you want to say. Fuck it, my kid was comfortable. I fucking loved his hair. His hair was fucking rock star. But yeah, this kid would just grab him by like, the side, by the sideburn or by the point, just fucking yank on it, just pull his shit back. And, I think a few times he might have even punched him. And I remember being upset because I didn't want my kid to be bullied. So that's why it surprised me when his first target after taking these classes was his cousin and not a kid who was similar to this kid, or he was being bullied. Like, he wanted to go out and be a bully. I was like, no, I'm not having that shit. But dealing with his bully, my wife handled most of that because I was usually at work, I didn't want to get up that early, to be honest, because he went to school around the corner. I was like, I'm not getting up. Fuck that. She can take him. I know it sounds sexist. I'm sorry. It's just facts. He needed to get to school. There's no point for two of us to go. And I remember being upset, not upset in a way where like I'm screaming at my wife, why is this happening? Screaming at him, why it's happening? Going to school, and be like, hey, you can't let my kid be bullied. I was just kind of upset that it was kind of happening. You know what I mean? But I go, hey, so what's going on? Oh, well, this kid, he pulls my hair, he punches me, he calls me stupid, he calls me this, he calls me that. I'm like, okay. First of all, calm down. How are you handling this? Oh, well, I think at the time he had his second grade teacher. Yeah, Mr. Hawk. And Mr. Hawk was an awesome teacher. Like, I fucking loved Mr. Hawk. He goes, I told Mr. Hawk, I'm like, what does Mr. Hawk say? He'll talk to Angel. He puts him in timeout, but it's not stopping that. I'm like, okay, look, what has he told you to do? He just told me to keep telling him if it happens. He told me to tell him to stop. And he does for a little while, but it's not stopping. Okay, I'm like, look, you have options here. You really do. None of which are physical, because I love you to death. And this, he was still young. He was like 6 or 7. I'm like, I love you to death, but you cannot throw a punch for shit. You can't kick for shit. I'm like, if you try to throw a punch at this dude, he's going to fuck you up. He looks like a strong, stocky kid. Like, he is going to fucking murder you if you try to stand up to him this way. So, at this point, all you can do is stay away from him. Don't play with him. And as weird as this may sound, just say hi to him. Just say hi to him. Just say, hi, Angel, how are you? Damn, I said the kid's name. Maybe I shouldn't have said his name. Man, you don't know his last name. And they just talk to him. Say hi. But why should I say hi to him if he's over here being mean to me? Just say hi. Just say hello. Let him know that you're not a threat to him, that he has no reason to be threatened by you. What if it doesn't work? Then it doesn't fucking work. Tell Mr. Hawk, go to the administrators. Your mom will be in there. We'll talk. We'll see how this works out. But those are your options. Can't you just come in? For what? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna fucking go and kick the crap out of an 8-year-old kid? Like, yeah, I could do that. That's easy. But what am I gonna do with you for the rest of your life? I'm not always gonna be there, bro. Like, boy, like, I could potentially die right here on the spot from a brain aneurysm. And I know I get very, like, people go, you really talked to your kid that way when I was young? Yes, I did. Maybe not the correct way to approach certain things with a sensitive young mind, but this is the way that I approach them. Again, I don't know what the fuck I'm actually doing sometimes. I just hope that shit sticks to the wall sometimes. And this was me trying to learn. I've never been the parent to a kid who got bullied. But I remember being bullied, and I remember how my dad took care of me. That's how we're learning this. So I tell him, just be nice, and if it keeps going, we'll figure this out. So, my kid goes in, says hi to him. They talk about it. They went to counseling, and they were able to kind of play together. And it wasn't 100% better, right? But it did get better. It was better. And then sometimes it would revert back to where like this kid all of a sudden just had a bad attitude, would just come and yank my kid's hair again, or try to punch him, push him, call him stupid, all this other stuff. And it continued consistently throughout the year. So for the second half of the year, I didn't want to get involved, and like they had been making strides. After going through the whole process of my kid going to the teacher, after going through the counseling at school, after talking to the administrators, after trying to settle this between, like the teachers and the administration, called a conference with my wife, my son, the other kid, and then his mother, the principal, and the teacher. They asked me if I wanted to come, but I just felt, well, what for, really? Like, I'm not going to add anything to this conversation. There's no reason for me to actually be there. And then all these things come out, and they're personal in nature. There was trouble. There was trouble at home, for the other kid. And then everybody kind of understood. But at the same time, it has to be understood that just because things like this were popping off at home doesn't mean that he can come and be mean to everybody else. This was my kid's last year there, so we didn't make like a big stink out of it. Or maybe he was there one more year. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember when we took my kid out of that school. But it wasn't because of that. It's because we moved. But like I had known and I had volunteered for being the Boy Scouts because my kid was in the Boy Scout. This kid happened to join as well. And I never held any ill will towards him. And when I saw him, I go, damn, this kid looks kind of like the kid who whooped my ass when I was my kid's age. And it kind of came full circle for me, and it's just like, what can I do? Like, I can't do anything. So I just play with the kid, and like I was just playing with him. We played basketball. We did a couple other like Boy Scouts, and he did have an attitude, but as far as I know, like my kid took his beatings and he kind of came out the other end. I mean, I don't know how he's like what he thought at that moment. And I'm hoping now it kind of makes sense why we didn't get it more involved, or why, I didn't go and handle all this shit. Because a lot of the stuff that my dad did to me is making sense to me now. But he survived that, right? Nothing happened. Little tugs, whatever. It's minuscule shit. And thanks to the administration, to both sets of parents, to the counseling, to the teacher, my kid learned something, right? He learned how to withstand a barrage from a bully, how to literally be abused, but not take it out on other people and come out the other way, where you can handle your own stuff, where you can handle the adversity. We move schools, we go to a different school, and surprise, surprise, he has another bully. This one was actually smaller, skinnier. And this one actually became a little bit more physical. I got a little bit more upset at this time around, but I couldn't do anything. These are little kids. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't go around just beating up little kids who hit my son. Like, that's not how this works, like, at all. So I told him, like, hey, what's going on? Like, yeah, well, this kid is like the other kid, but like he's more like aggressive. Like, he hits me more, and he's just always in my face and screaming at me, and this is, I'm like, so stay away from him. But he chases me, he follows me, and he just wants to, like, he always just wants to do stuff to me. And I go, so what are you gonna do? I'm like, you still can't throw a punch, so you can't handle it that way. I mean, if you want to try that, dude, I have your back. Throw that punch. But realize that if you throw this punch and he absorbs this punch, this guy most likely will fuck you up. And since you threw the first punch, I'm not going to go in and defend you. This is going to be a decision you have to make. If you want, you can scream at him, you can curse him out, like whatever, however you choose to handle this, I will have your back. You will not get in trouble from me. Well, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, I don't know, buddy. I'm giving you the options. You can throw a punch, see if it lands flush, scream at him, stay away from him. There's options here. It came to a point where, like, towards the end of the school year, they had a fire drill while the kids were out in recess. And, you know, like, it was actually, no, it wasn't a fire drill. It was, which is scary to say, it was a drill on the procedure to do if there's an active shooter or an invader on the campus. You know, like somebody who would come on campus to try to run from the cops, or there was an active shooter. They would ring these bells during, like, scenarios, like recess being one of them, of like what these kids actually do. As this bell is ringing, they're playing basketball, and the kids, like, you know, like, they kind of freeze and stop and not realize, like, what to do. And they all freeze as the teachers are going, all right, everybody, this is the drill. Get to your class. As this is being explained and my kid is standing still, this other kid, his bully, has the basketball in his hands. This dude saw this as a free shot. He wailed the ball at the back of my kid's head. And my wife saw the whole thing because my wife was actually on campus. And he just chucks this ball to the back of my kid's head, knocking my kid's glasses off his face. This dude's on the floor. What the? You know, screaming because he just got fucking bought with the basketball by surprise in the back of the dome. So that one did get me upset a little bit. The principal saw it, some of them. So they finished the drill. They yanked my kid and this other kid to the office. My wife is a little bit more aggravated because she saw this. And they talked to both of them. The other kid gets in trouble. My kid doesn't. Meeting is had. Kind of find out kind of a similar instance. Trouble at home. Shit happens. Kid doesn't know how to handle it. I don't blame him. Right? It comes out some way. Not all bullies are going to be a product of domestic abuse or a tough family situation. Some kids are just fucking assholes. Just like some grown-ups are just fucking assholes. I mean, you could be the richest fucking dude and just a little fucking dick. And then you can be like the poorest guy and be like the sweetest fucking dude ever because you're just happy to be alive. You know, so that happens. He had a bully in middle school as well. He took care of that one himself. But, you know, similar type of things, verbal abuse and just kind of overall just trying to diminish what my kid is actually doing. That one we actually didn't get involved with. Somehow along the way, and I don't know how, but he was telling me, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stay after school and do this thing, and I'm gonna be there with Whoop-de-Woo, and I can't remember the dude's name. But it sounded familiar to me at the time, and somehow I can't remember this. As a grown-up, I have a terrible memory. As a kid, I fucking remember everything. And I go, wait, wasn't your bully named this? And I think it started with a D. Pretty sure it started with a D. He goes, yeah, actually, it's the same kid. What? Word? How are you guys now all of a sudden, like, kind of cool? He's like, well, we're not really cool. We're not friends, but he's not bullying me anymore, and we just started talking, and we realized that we liked video games. I think at the time, I think it was either Smash Brothers or StarCraft or something along the, you know, something that they both had in common, because they shared a couple classes together. Something that they shared, and he goes, yeah. So we started talking, and now, you know, he's nice to me now, like he's cool, and this is fairly recent, within the last 2 years. And I go, okay, cool. If you guys are cool, then it's cool. You know, do whatever you want to do. You know, handle them. It's like, all right. And he was telling me, you know, like all the stuff that was going on with this kid, and I was like, okay, cool. He worked it out. Both of them being a little bit older, but my kid having to understand what it's like to be bullied, and having to build a tougher skin because of it. Not all of a sudden was able to take, you know what, this wasn't even the first kid. There was 2 or 3 kids that actually try to bully my kid in middle school, and somehow he became pretty good friends with one, okay with another, and then the third one just kind of left him alone and went to go do his other thing and picked I don't know if a different target or what, but he wasn't involved with my kid directly anymore. He could have moved away. I don't fucking know. But my kid was able to surpass that. He was able to figure out a way to deal with his bullies, to deal with his demons, to deal with the people who are aggravating him in a very, very mature way. But had I always been there to protect him, or to stay off these bullies, or to not support him, my wife, same, administration, teachers, all the same, then I don't know what I could have done. It could have been easy for any administrator, for any parent, for anybody in the situation that's not related to my son, who has no vested interest in my son's well-being, to be like, oh, it's just boys being boys. It's just them playing. It's just them, just messing around. It could have been easy for anybody to say that, but none of them did. And in the process, even though my kid tended to be the victim in a lot of these processes, not sure what happened with the first two kids in that relationship, but in middle school, he was able to develop friendship with one, I guess a mutual respect of being able to be alive with the other, and then was able to just kind of not get rid of them, but it's kind of like bypass a third, because he had a support system, because we were able to understand that, hey, he didn't like this, but he needed to figure out a way to handle this himself. That, yeah, we would get involved to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has to deal with this. We can't get involved to the point where we're kicking the other parent's ass, or we're starting shit at the school, or we're starting shit with this kid, or anything else. Like, we can't do that. Like, that's not a feasible solution to this problem. And when you go out to college, when you go out for your first job interview, when you go out to a job, you might have a bitch ass manager. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go talk to your manager and be like, hey, don't talk to my kid that way? I'm gonna go defend my 20-year-old child at his fucking first job, wherever the fuck that happens to be, and be like, hey, don't talk to my kid this way. I'll fuck you up. Like, that's not a feasible solution for the long term. Kids have to figure out a way to deal with this adversity. Bullying is necessary in school at a primitive level. These kids have to understand how to coexist. And the only way they could do that is by going through the motions of where they think they stand in life, where they think their stature is in their lifetimes together. But we as humans understand, we as adult humans understand that this is not a feasible way to grow up our kids. We need to support a solution to this without being overly involved, without actually harming the other kid, whether or not that kid is the victimizer or not. We can't solve these problems. We can offer the solutions to these problems. We can help find solutions to these problems as it is in life, throughout life. But we cannot solve these problems. What is going on now with trying to have a zero tolerance on bullying, a zero tolerance on all this stuff, is that we're creating a band-aid over an infection. A short-term solution in which schools and other children organizations are looking for a simple solution to a complicated problem. The problem is, as I mentioned, this is an infection. When you put a band-aid over an infection, it just takes it away. The underlying infection is still there. It's still poisoning your bloodstream. It's still doing everything else. When this kid no longer has this makeshift protection from that infection, they go out into the world and they fucking die and they crumble because they're not used to handling the pressure. They're not used to seeking the attention, the medical attention, the supportive attention that they need to overcome this. So what until happens to those kids? We fuck them up for life. trying to find a word called zero tolerance. Zero tolerance doesn't work for anything other than fucking guns. Having zero tolerance towards racism, towards bullying, towards anything of that nature. There are other things that literally should be zero tolerance. But those type of simple interactions that we all have, all of us have, at work, at school, within our own families, within our own friends, within our own neighborhoods. We all have this problem. We need to show kids how to deal with these problems. Because then what ends up happening is you have a populace, you have a nation that doesn't know how to deal with these problems. They don't know how to overcome differences of opinions, differences, or any type of differences altogether. You make a populace of people who are not willing to invest the time needed to solve the problem. That's why I think bullying should not be made illegal, and it's an actual necessary part of life. But we as teachers, as parents, as administrators, as the village, as the neighbors, when we see this go on, we can't stay quiet. We can't just take our kid's side. We can't just try to protect our own kid. We have to find a solution in order to help not only the kid that's being victimized, whether that kid is yours or not, but also the victimizer, the kid who's aggressing this, because he may not know that he's doing anything wrong. We find these solutions, we can help more. Instead of just hurting and trying to come up with fucking short-term solutions where nobody has to deal with this. Because not dealing with it is not a fucking solution. Not dealing with it doesn't solve a goddamn thing. Not dealing with it actually makes it so this problem manifests and gets worse. And when the kid is no longer a kid and gets older, they're just really lost in this role where this is kind of existing. What happens when the bully is no longer able to be the bully at work, at school, at anywhere, because it's not accepted there? But that's all they fucking know, because we never taught them different. What happens to that kid? What happens to the kid that gets punked but yet is always protected by the parent, by the teacher, over the zero tolerance shit? And he goes out into the world, and guess what? Manager is verbally abusive. He could be in a verbally abusive relationship. He may not, he's not equipped. They are not equipped. She is not equipped. Our children are not equipped to deal with this because we're there solving the problems for them. And then when we push them out into the world and push them out the nest, we have clipped their wings. They're not able to fly because they never learned how. Because we refuse to let them grow up. We refuse to let them be a little bit tougher than they were the day before. You can be angry at me for having this opinion, but again, I say this as somebody who's been bullied, who tried to be the bully and got bullied out of it. And now I'm the parent of a person who has been bullied, who has surpassed this, but yet still maintains a good demeanor about himself. Yes, I know this sounds like a fucking humble brag. No, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to say, like, we need to really thoroughly think about what we're trying to solve here. Solving the actual act of bullying doesn't mean we should make it illegal, that we should make sure that it only happens once, because nothing in life works that way. We have to make sure that we teach these kids right from wrong, good from bad, how to act with each other. At the end of the day, you know what? That kid can grow up and probably be a bully. Doesn't matter what the fuck we tell him. Doesn't matter what the fuck we do. And it doesn't just, I know I say him and I use the male like objective to all this, But this is all, this goes both ways. I've seen females bully other females. I've seen it. Okay, but I'm more familiar with the male bully because I am a male getting bullied by a male. And you know what? I actually got punked by a girl growing up too. I've got bit and beat by a girl in my fucking youth. I remember getting a big ass fucking bite on my shoulder because some girl decided, hey, she's gonna just bite me for the fuck of it. She bit the shit out of me. It was, dude, it turned purple for like 2 weeks. My mom was not happy about that shit. But what do we don't teach kids anything by trying to essentially make what they are doing and finding themselves illegal. We don't. What we do is we make the problem worse for when they become older. So what we need to do is help these kids understand. We need to talk to them. We need to find active solutions that not only work for the current situation, but we got to think about these kids going forward. Let's just say it worked this simple. Let's just say, right? My kid gets bullied. Let's just say the school had zero tolerance whatsoever. And the kid who bullied my kid gets suspended for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. You can't have this kid in school. Can't have this kid in school. What happens to that kid? He misses out on education. Possibly, we don't know the house situation. He can miss out on meals that he only gets at school. Like there's underlining problems to this one-stop solution that we don't fucking know. Education, free meals, interaction. Like things that you need to become a functioning human being in life are being taken away from you because you go and punch another kid. So with the zero tolerance, we're removing this kid from the elements that he needs to learn from, that he needs to get nourished from. Not only on a physical form, but a more mental and spiritual form. Yes, this kid can still grow up and be an ass. Understood. I understand that. But we owe it to our children to help them become stronger human beings, regardless of what end of the spectrum that you're going to be. Just because you can kick everybody's ass doesn't make you the strongest person. It just means there hasn't been a stronger person that comes to kick your ass. It's that simple. You let a bully be a bully. What happens when the bully is no longer the bullier? How's he going to be able to handle that? We don't know if we don't talk to them. If we don't try to help them figure that out when they're young, and they're not going to have our support when they get older, what happens to that kid? You can watch the news and you can see what happens. What happens to the kid that gets bullied and all we do is solve his problems by removing this kid, by taking him out of the element that's causing this problem? What happens? We create a little weakling that can't defend itself, that can't think for themselves, they can't do anything. So then we create a populace that's just weak. That weak characters, weak people. You have to go through adversity in order to know what you want to do in your life. I had to go through a lot. I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm not saying that what I went through is correct and that if I can go back in time, I wouldn't want to deal with it. But at the same time, I don't think that without experiencing what I experienced, I'd be able to tell my kid how to be a better human being. I'm not saying I'm the best human being because I'm not. You know what I mean? But the one thing that my kid has had that I don't have at all is the fact that other people actually like my kid. Oh, he's such a good kid. And again, these sound like humble brags, but it's nothing that I'm doing. It's everything that he does. I just offer solution and he can do whatever he wants with the information that I give him. I'm glad that up until this point, it's been used in a way that makes him likable to others. Because I wasn't that person. And as a matter of fact, I'm the complete opposite. Because I got bullied and because of everything else, I kind of shut people down and I kind of cut a lot of people out of my life because I just didn't want to deal with a lot of it. Because that's the decision I made. I still have friends. I still have family. I still love them to death. I will I will stand to defend them to the death because those people mean the most to me. When we go to work, I can have friends with differences of opinions, with different friends that I don't like. I can have that because I understand where I want to be and who I want to be with. I understand what I want out of life. And I want to surround myself with just respectful people. Again, we don't have to be the same. We don't have to like the same music. We don't have to like the same food. As a matter of fact, some of the funniest conversations I've had with some of my best friends are based on our differences. Food, beer, games, movies, whatever. Sports teams. Oh my God, sports teams. Like being a Niner fan, like me and my best friend are Niner fans. My cousin is a Rams fan. My homies from work that I still talk to this day, even though I haven't worked with them in almost 2 years. One of them is a Cowboys fan. One of them is an Eagles fan. One of the higher managers that I love to death and still talk to that dude, even though we haven't really talked to each other, seen each other like in 5 years, is a Giants fan. Had a couple dudes that are Packers fans. Like, man, all right, I got family who are Raiders fans. Now, as a Niners fan, you got to understand that shit is fucking... You got to understand what the fuck that means. But those are some of the best people in my life. Are the people that are different enough, but we respect each other and we love each other. And the reason I was able to develop what's important to me in my life is because I did get punked, and I did get made fun of, and I did get punched, and I did get ridiculed and all this other fucking bullshit. It allowed me to understand what I was looking for in my life. And for the most part, I feel like I found what I'm looking for in my life through many, many friends, through many, many coworkers, through just general, because it developed. What that means for what my kid wants, I don't know. But so far, it's been for the best. That he's gone through these experiences. He's able to do these adversities, knowing that, you know what? Okay, I'm facing this now. But I remember being more upset or more hurt when so-and-so was punking me, when this guy was doing this, when this was doing that. You learn how to just push forward and become tougher while still maintaining who you want to be inside. When we stop this natural process of happening in our schools and say this is a zero tolerance, we are damaging these kids. We're taking the ability for them to understand why what they're doing is incorrect. And we take away the ability to coach kids who are being victims to become stronger people in life. Again, it doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always work, but we cannot make solutions on the possibilities that they may not work. That's the easy way out. The only thing that we teach our kids is if something doesn't go your way, somebody will take care of it for you. That shit does not fucking last. That shit does not last. And the only way that shit lasts is if you're rich as fuck. If you have all the money in the world, to have all the connections in the world, to be hooked up with lawyers and this, yeah, then maybe, you know what? Maybe that shit works. You can see it in our politics. You can see it in our government. You can even see people who are just rich. They can just do shit to do shit because they could afford to have people take care of their problems. For the rest of us, we're going to jail or winding up dead. Is that what we really want to develop in this country? Is this what we really want our kids to grow up in? With this fake ass illusion that their problems will always be solved for them. I don't want that. You know, my kid's about to start high school and he can probably get bullied again. He's a big kid, but he's not going to be the biggest kid. I already know. The whole football team most likely will be bigger than him. You know, most of the athletes will probably be bigger than him. But because he's learned, like, hey, you know what? I didn't like being treated wrong. I'm not going to try to treat anybody else that way. People tend to like him. He might be safe. There might be that one bully that comes in, fuck this dude, and punches this guy for no fucking reason other than he wanted to fucking punch him. And the process will be the same. Hey, what happened? Oh, okay, cool. Like, did you tell anybody? Did you handle? How you gonna handle this? Now, if it becomes a little bit more, like personal, like dude's gonna hit him up on Instagram or on Facebook, or just like has his phone number, just starts fucking texting him, then yeah, then maybe I'll get involved in something like that if it goes that far. You know what I'm saying? They go over like, hey, hold up, this ain't happening. We gotta talk. Bring in the parents. We're gonna talk about this. This just can't happen, and we'll talk about it. No physicality, no nothing. Maybe I'll get involved in. But I think for the first phases of these possibilities, my kid is more than well equipped to try to weather the storm and see if he can find a solution for himself. Because he has 4 years to figure out how the fuck he's gonna do this when he goes out to college, when he goes out to get his first job, when he goes out to do anything else in his life. I'm not gonna be there for him. My wife is not gonna be there for him. He can call us anytime and we can give him support. We can give him experience. We can give him how we think, he should handle it. But we're not the ones that are going to have to deal with it. He is. All right. So that's that's my subject. And I'll leave it at that. I don't know. I think I had a story to share, but I'll leave that for another day. And part of this was a story, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's my take. You know what I mean? That's my take. If you're gonna take away anything from this, that's what I want. I want people to take away is try to understand the other person. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do is try to understand the other person. Regardless of what subject matter, what's he talking about? He's talking about the bullying or he's talking about the abortion? I'm talking about both. Understand the other person. You thinking that you have the solutions creates more conflict. What works for you, fine. Works for you. It doesn't work for everybody. And as you try to justify why it works, because you can find people that validates your opinion, doesn't mean that they work. And you can look at me and say, well, you have this big ass opinion on bullying, how it should exist. And that's fine. That's my opinion. That's what I go and practice. If you think zero tolerance is the way to go, fuck it. Then stick your kid in a zero tolerance school and deal with whatever the results are of that process. I don't believe in that process. So I will go along with my process, my beliefs, try to help my kid as he deals with shit as I see him come, and we'll deal with it that way. I'm not saying this is the solution. I'm just saying my personal opinion on all matters. But I do understand that some people don't want this. That's fine. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to come out here on this podcast and be like, oh, all you people who think bullying is this, you guys are all soft little bitches and you guys don't know how real life works? Nah, I mean, if that's what you want, if that's what you want for your kids, if that's what you want for yourself, if that's what you want your kids to grow up in, that, you know what, that's beautiful. Then go provide that for them. Go to a school district that has zero tolerance, that has this, that has that. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. If that works for your kid because you feel like your kid is going to be like a movie star and not going to have to deal with this shit, or they're going to be a great computer programmer and none of these dudes are going to, that's fine. That's great. Go. I'm not offering solutions. I just want to invoke understandings and discussion. That's all I want to do. So we can think about this, so we can go together. We don't have to agree to be able to communicate with each other, to be able to discuss with each other, and to understand the other person. Our agreement on certain subjects, including this one, and including the first one, you don't have to provide solutions. You just have to understand. That's it. Just understand. Like I said, I don't believe in abortions as a male. I don't believe in them. But I'm not the one that has to make that decision. An abortion is not, a pregnancy is not terminated within me. I don't have to go through the procedures of an abortion. I don't think any woman goes through this really, really lighthearted and doesn't think about the consequences. There might be some, just like anything else, there might be some who look at this as a way to prevent them having a kid. There are going to be those. But just because, again, there's a potential for that result, there's a potential for that to be a thing, doesn't mean that I'm going to automatically demonize any woman who needs to have this done because they so choose to for whatever reason. Family, religion, health, financial, whatever. I'm with you, my sister. I'm with you. If this is what you want to do, I wholeheartedly defend your right to have the choice of what you do with your body. That is your right. And while I don't agree with it, I will defend your right for you to choose what is right for you. And I will understand that. I will not think less of you. I will not have a lower opinion of you. We are just two different people going through two different journeys with two different outcomes from two different perspectives on one problem. And as long as we can talk about it and we can understand each other about it, then we've already won. Together, with two different results, we've won. Okay, I'll drop it off right there. Leave it there. Again, if you want to email me about anything, want me to talk about certain things, you want to just shoot the shit, you want to hear stories about this instance or any other instances that I might have had in my life, go ahead and email me at mobanterpodcast. It's mobanterpodcast@gmail.com, and we can talk about it. And if you think I'm an asshole, yeah, man, you're not gonna be the first. But yeah, leave a comment here. You can find the video of this on YouTube. A link will be in the description down below. Feel free to leave a comments. And I really don't care what the comments are. If you think I'm an ass, then that's cool. You won't be the first. You won't be the last. Thank you for listening. Even your haters have to listen to the show to find something to be angry about. So thank you for listening. And I'll see you guys next time. So up until then, please try to understand your fellow human. Please try to understand that your solution may not work for them. And just talk. Just talk and find common ground and have a good time with what you guys can have common ground on, and then we're all better for it. But as soon as you start demonizing and making enemies out of people over the slightest thing, that's when the world shuts down. All right, everybody, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Nothing but love and peace and chicken grease. And I'll see you guys next time.